Hey, deserving listeners, it's time to continue our journey with Colt and Larissa. Let's get to the show.
But I feel the only person that have to control a man wallet is his wife. So you pick Colt every day, Debbie?
Every day I take Colt and I pick him up every day.
Oh, so cute. Eu acho que o Colt, na minha opinião, ele deveria cortar o cordão umbilical com a mãe dele, porque ele está há 33 anos.
So if I were there with Larissa, I would say, okay, you want Colt to cut the umbilical cord. You want Colt to not be so close to mom. You don't want mom and son to be so involved in each other's life. Okay, but let's drill down on that a little bit. Let's get below that. What's going on? Tell me the full range of what's happening for you right now. What are the emotions you're feeling? I don't know, but I would guess that Larissa would be threatened, that she would think that, well, my love or my closeness or the power of my own life is threatened by my mother-in-law, my future mother-in-law. And I don't want that to happen. I want to have the freedom to interact with my future husband in a way that doesn't have people interfering with that. I want to be able to interact with him more. I don't want to live with my mother-in-law. I'm worried that my future husband is being limited by still being involved with his mom, or whatever the worry is. Okay, so there'd be some kind of worry there, some kind of anxiety, some kind of fear, right? And then I'd say, okay, let's just stick there. You're going to a solution of you need to cut the umbilical cord, but let's start from the beginning. Let's not instantly transform that into a recommendation or a pressure on Colt. We could argue that if Larissa has this approach to Colt of, Colt, you have to cut the umbilical cord. Well, you're just transferring the umbilical cord from one person to another. Colt isn't making the decision for himself. If he went along with that pressure, he would just be transferring the umbilical cord instead of Colt actually doing what I think Larissa wants, which is to be his own person. So I'd start from the beginning of just her emotions. Okay, just communicate that. Just stay in that space of, I'm worried about the future because you and your mom are involved with each other. Now, because there might be a way that the Colt and the mom could still have a close relationship and address her fears. We don't know what those fears are, though. The other possibility is that Larissa is just upset because it doesn't look right to her. It doesn't look culturally right to her. For a lot of us viewing this, we might be like, something's weird about this. But we don't want to jump to conclusions. We don't want to just say something's pathological about that, even though I have no evidence of pathology, and so I have to change it. Now, maybe there is pathology, and y'all have probably watched ahead, so you probably know, but I'm worried about where this is headed, because right from the beginning, there was tension between mom and Larissa. It doesn't seem to be getting any better, and Colt is stuck in the middle, so I'm really worried about where this is headed.
How was the day?
It was fantastic.
I miss you.
I miss you too.
So we went to a store and I found a really cute sofa, but I would like to know, what do you think?
Okay, so there's two triangles happening right now. There's clear tension between Larissa and mom, Debbie, and they're both triangulating Colt to say, okay, Colt, who are you going to side with? Are you going to agree with me, or are you going to agree with the enemy? The other thing that's being triangulated is the sofa. The sofa is being triangulated into their conflict, and it was earlier as well. What the problem here is that Larissa and the mom have a ton of tension right now. They have seemingly no bond, lots of conflict. There's a lot of emotions that are coming up. For the mom, I think she shuts down and tries to wrangle her emotions. Probably feels very hurt right now. Is developing an inner dialogue, an inner narrative that is very negative of Larissa. And Larissa, she seems to lean into conflict. She seems to say, okay, you know what? You want to fight? Well, I'm going to fight, and I'll do it with a smile, but I'm going to win, and I'm going to dominate this situation with my seeming charm and my ability to get people to do what I want them to do, We're starting to see that. And I cannot see this working out well. I just can't. And I'm just thinking, go to a family therapist. They could help.
I thought that we could do some things without you alone every time.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a big decision buying a couch. It's not like we're buying a plant. You understand?
Yes, I see. I'm sorry. I will follow the rules.
Yikes. I mean, I wish I could talk to Larissa and just get to know where she's coming from, because what's so weird about saying, okay, you guys found a couch that you both like, and I'd like to see it before we buy it. What's the big deal with that? And she's just like, okay, fine, I'll follow your stupid rules, and you're a mama's boy. It's such a weird way of looking at things. Oh, a hummingbird is outside, going towards my hummingbird feeder. I'm so happy.
Well, do you think we should have bought it?
No.
Okay.
Okay. But
There's also other places we can go look at that have different styles of that kind of couch.
Yeah, today was your first venture in this enterprise, right?
Do you think the three of you guys will have a bank account when you and Larissa get married?
I think my mother and I will still share a bank account. It's just easier. I trust my mother, but I don't feel comfortable giving Larissa my credit card because I think she'd just burn through that, the speed of sound or something.
I'm guessing, I don't know, that the mom doesn't work and doesn't have a source of income. And for Colt, it's easier for him to deposit checks into a joint bank account so that mom will have spending money to spend.
and maybe thinks that show love is just sex.
So I express myself in different ways, not just sex, hugging, kissing, being intimate, physically intimate, obviously.
Colt has a great sexual drive, and maybe he thinks that every Latin woman shakes the boobies and walk around with big asses and is available to make love. I not the same girl that he dreamed.
All right, so we're hearing a difference in libido. For Colt, he seemingly has a more robust libido than Larissa does. And this is a common thing. And listen to my other podcasts where I talk about this. It's really quite complicated. Often there is a libido difference between couples. Sometimes it's the man in a heterosexual relationship. Sometimes it's the woman. Obviously, with gay relationships, they can also experience libido differences. It's just one of those things. And for the couples that come to me, it often is a topic that we will talk about. It's complicated. There's so many different reasons as to why the low libido person would have low libido. Sometimes it's just the way they're biologically built, and at least that's the conceptualization we have of it. Or it's because the way they have sex isn't the way they want to have sex. Or either one of them has gone through some kind of sexual trauma that exacerbates either high libido or low libido. There's so many different things that go into that. And when I talk with couples, what I'm hoping is that we can just talk about it in a way that doesn't hurt each other's feelings, that allows for difference to occur. Often what we find in our society, at least for me, we will either pathologize the high libido person or pathologize the low. Usually it's because we base it on our own experiences in the past. If we had a low libido person that we were involved with, we might pathologize that person because we were really hurt by that person. If you were the low libido person in a relationship, you might pathologize the high libido person because they were frequently pestering you, that kind of thing. But we all just need to recognize that there's different libidos, and sometimes they fluctuate over time or even throughout the month. And that's okay. It's all right. It's completely okay and normal, almost universal, for there to be at least some libido difference. And we can just talk about it, and we can take care of each other, and we can take care of ourselves.
She has no idea the cost of things in America. She honestly thinks we can buy a car for $500. I want to make her happy, but at the same time, I have to be realistic.
We need something that's reasonably priced. I mean, you don't have a job, you don't have credit, so the onus is on me once again.
Then you marry you, I have 70%.
Of what?
Of 7% of the decision.
No, that's not how it works. You have 0% of the money and 70% of the decision?
Yes, because I'll marry you.
That doesn't make any sense.
All right, I don't know if she's joking, but that was an interesting statement that I think is very indicative of her behavior. She is saying that I have 70% of the power of the decisions in this relationship. She has absolutely been exhibiting that. Now, she sounds like she's kind of joking, but maybe joking but not, if you know what I mean. And where would that come from? Why would she have that point of view? Is that what people are like in her town? Maybe in her town that's the way they operate. I don't know. It seems interesting because on one hand, I think she does care and I think she does love Colt. At least it looks like it. On the other hand, it just seems like she just doesn't care and isn't interested in how he feels about things, isn't interested in his relationship with his cats and his mom and his town, and isn't interested in how he feels about spending a lot of money. She just seems to not care, but she also seems to kind of care. So it's a bit of a conundrum.
Well, for me, I don't know how you feel.
I want a husband that stands with his wife, but no, every time I ask, I hear the same old answer. I can pick the things or make decisions. I found a really cool.
So that's her narrative, is every time I ask for something, I can't make the decisions. I want an expensive car, and because you're not going to buy me the expensive car or the expensive sofa, I have no power. It's an interesting way of looking at things. Now, we are not there during all the nuanced conversations that they're having. So maybe there's a reason why she has that narrative. Maybe he actually does have 100% of the power, and she is reacting to that. Hard to know, but let's continue watching.
I love this car. The color match with my hair.
Well, that's the most important thing.
Yes.
How much is this?
This?
Yeah, what's the starting price?
23,000.
Oh, it's cheapy.
Well, I wouldn't say that. Can we look at the car over there?
Of course.
Cool. We need to find a car that's more reasonably priced for our needs for right now.
And how is your budget?
10,000?
Okay, so we know the landscape. For Colt, he says that the car that she wants is too expensive. It's $23,000, and he says his budget is $10,000. So let's see how the two of them navigate that.
Yep. 9,000.
9,000?
2017.
2017.
Factory warranty. Got good AC.
Does.
Got Bluetooth still. It's in the middle of something compact and SUV.
It's not sexy car.
Sexy? Okay.
No. I think that's really important we have a big and comfortable car. Because if you bring someone from another country, you need to spend money to take care of the woman.
All right, there's that statement. She's very explicit with her points of view, which is interesting. She is saying when you bring a woman from another, we'll rewatch that. When you bring a woman from another country, you need to spend money on her and take care of her. I think she has absolutely exhibited that value. Let's rewatch that.
Sexy? Okay.
No. I think that's really important we have a big and comfortable car. Because if you bring someone from another country, you need to spend money to take care of the woman.
So there it is. She says, if you are going to bring me to the United States, then you owe me to spend a lot of money on me. Now, what Colt is saying is, I don't have a lot of money. So where's the money supposed to come from exactly? I'm wondering how compatible they are, as I often am wondering. Because for Larissa, there's certainly other men from the United States that she could be involved with who have a lot of money and would absolutely love to spend money on her. And they would be compatible. Those two people would be compatible. For Colt, that is not his value. At least he hasn't exhibited it to this point. Is that I think even if Colt was rich, he still wouldn't have that value of just like, oh, I'm bringing a woman to the United States and I'm going to shower her with gifts and money and extravagant, fancy things. I don't think he comes across that way. So there's an incompatibility. Now, there's nothing wrong with being at least a little bit incompatible, but they seem to have a lot of incompatibilities. And that worries me as well. And it's just one of those things that I would hope that these people would communicate before they embark on getting married. It's very frequent that over Skype or Zoom or FaceTime, they're in love, it's all nice, everything's great, and then they meet and immediately you have all these problems and you just think like you could have had that conversation before you committed.
I love that black car.
I love the SUV, but it's not realistic.
Oh, come on.
I mean, we have to get a wedding, the venue place.
No, we're having a wedding. I don't want a wedding, I want a car.
I love you. Rain, gas.
No,
honeymoon,
who cares? I
food.
want, that car is perfect.
It's confusing to me. I would really want to know what's going on with her. Like, she equates spending money on her with love. And again, there's nothing terribly wrong with that. It's a love language. It's not compatible. So maybe it's that. I don't know. There's just a very consistent behavior from her. And then she literally just said that earlier of just like, if you're going to bring a fancy woman from another country, then you're going to spend a lot of money on her or else.
It's a nice car, but we have other expenses right now.
It's not a high priority for me to get us a new car. It's something that we should talk about after the wedding.
It's really complicated living in Vegas without a nice car with air conditioner.
Now that I completely agree with. To live in Vegas with a car that doesn't have an air conditioner is its own version of hell. Vegas is hot. I cannot imagine, even with an air conditioner, it would be hard on some days. I absolutely agree with her on that level. All right, if you haven't subscribed, that would be cool if you want to. Also, giving us a thumbs up is nice. I get a lot of gratification when I see a certain number of thumbs up. The meaning of my life is defined by thumbs up. And everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.